Welcome to this deep dive. Today we're really plunging into the complex world of AI adoption, specifically in financial services and healthcare.
Yeah, highly regulated sectors. It's a trippy area.
Definitely. These industries, they're not just any businesses, are they?
Yeah.
They've got this unique balancing act, new tech versus incredibly strict compliance.
It's a real tightrope walk, absolutely. And the stakes are high. Getting it wrong isn't just about fines.
No, it impacts trust, patient safety, data security, huge consequences.
Precisely.
So to help us navigate this, we're drawing on insights from some experts at SURS. They're deep in cloud AI analytics work.
Right. They work directly with these companies, so they see the day-to-day challenges.
Exactly. They've shared some really sharp perspectives on the hurdles and opportunities for AI here.
And that on-the-ground experience is gold. Integrating cutting-edge AI into environments built on, decades of regulation. That's the hard part.
Okay, so our mission today. Let's untangle this complexity. We want to pull out the crucial insights. What does AI transformation actually look like here? What are the specific hurdles? And, critically, what's the best path forward for doing this successfully and responsibly?
Yeah, and we'll touch on some interesting themes, like how healthcare is actually learning from finance in some ways. We'll also get into the difference between, say, older automation and what AI can really do now.
That's a key point.
And maybe surprisingly, why thinking about the process first is potentially more vital than the specific tech you choose.
Okay, let's dig in then. Now, it's pretty well known that regulated industries, historically, they're not the fastest movers on new tech. There's a reason for that, right? What are the results of this cautious approach?
You definitely hit the nail on the head there. The experts pointed out that, regulations came first, IT investment often lagged behind. Compliance was always, and understandably, the top priority.
Right, necessary, but...
But the consequence is often IT systems and, frankly, operational processes that just haven't kept up. They can seem quite basic compared to less regulated sectors.
So you end up stuck with these legacy systems, big barriers to bringing in anything new, I imagine.
Exactly that. And even when they did try to automate things in the past, maybe outsourcing or using early robotic process automation, RPA, they didn't always get the full benefit. The potential might have been there, but getting widespread, lasting value was tough.
And what about the people? The skills needed?
Oh, that's a huge one. The internal skills gap is a major roadblock. Do these organizations actually have the people needed to implement, manage, and evolve these complex AI systems?
Right.
Building that capability, whether it's internal training or smart partnerships, that's absolutely crucial.
So this paints an interesting picture, doesn't it? You've got these big, established players watching nimbler fintechs or health techs race ahead with new technology. There must be this real tension wanting to catch up versus the fear of tripping a regulatory wire.
Absolutely. It's that classic FOMO fear of missing out, crashing right into the fear of regulatory heat and penalties. You see some leaning in, maybe a bit too fast, driven by competition. Others are hanging back, kind of waiting to see how others handle the regulations first.
Both strategies have risks, I suppose.
Definitely. It's a high-stakes situation. Get it wrong, and it costs you.
Okay, now you mentioned RPA earlier. Our sources made a really clear distinction between that and the kind of AI we're mostly talking about now. They used a good analogy. RPA is the arms, AI is the brain. What's the real shift there?
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. The key thing with RPA is that it's essentially programmed to follow very fixed, rigid steps. Think of it like recording someone doing a task. Every click, every keystroke is hard-coded. If it's processing, say, a document.
Like an invoice.
Yeah, an invoice. It might be told the date is always in this exact spot on the page. Pixel coordinates, literally.
So if the invoice layout changes even a tiny bit, the whole RPA process just breaks.
Precisely. It can work great for super standardized, repetitive stuff.
Yeah.
But it's static. It has zero understanding of the meaning or the context of the data it's pushing around.
Okay, and that's where AI comes in and changes the whole game?
Yes, completely different level. Modern AI, especially now with things like large language models and what they call agentic AI, it's fundamentally different. It doesn't need fixed steps or coordinates. It understands context.
How so?
So with that invoice example, an AI agent can actually read the document. It understands, okay, this number looks like a date. This text is probably the vendor name. Regardless of where they are on the page, it gets the structure and meaning.
Wow, okay, that is a huge leap. It's not just following instructions, it's actually interpreting the information.
Exactly. And agentic AI pushes that even further. It's not just interpreting, it's acting intelligently based on that understanding. These AI agents can plan out complex tasks from instructions. They can reason through those plans. Yeah, even reason and collaborate with other AI agents. They can generate and run automation code themselves. And crucially, they can adapt if the business process changes over time.
Hold on. So it's not like software you install once and then constantly have to patch or update when your process shifts. It can actually evolve with the business.
That's the core difference. It's designed to be more like a living autonomous system adapting versus the static nature of older automation.
Right.
And the interesting thing is, while the tech itself might be incredibly complex under the hood, the result for the human user is actually simplification. Faster decisions, better information, better service.
That distinction is really critical, static versus adaptive context-aware AI.
Okay.
Now, the experts really hammered home this idea that for AI to truly succeed and scale, especially in these regulated areas, you absolutely must adopt what they called process-first thinking. What does that mean, practically speaking?
Process first. Fundamentally, it's about zooming out. It means you don't just find one little step in a workflow and ask, hey, can we stick some AI here? Instead, you look at the entire end-to-end business process, map it all out, understand every step, every handoff, and then you figure out where AI can add the most value across that whole chain.
So you avoid that trap of just deploying tech because it's cool without a clear link to a bigger business goal.
Precisely. The experts mentioned seeing lots of AI projects fail for that exact reason. They become these science projects, technically interesting maybe, but never properly adopted or solving a real organizational need.
Right.
Think about it. If you have, say, a 10-step process, maybe AI could revolutionize step 2 and step 7.
Okay.
But if you only focused on those spots without that process-first view, you might still be doing steps 3, 4, and 5 the old clunky way.
Yeah.
Or you might not realize that steps 8, 9, and 10 also need to change now because of what the AI did earlier.
So you either miss the full potential benefit or you actually create new bottlenecks further down the line.
Exactly. And this process-first approach, it's absolutely pivotal in regulated industries. The stakes are just so much higher.
Higher how?
Well, both in terms of the potential value you can create, but also because of those non-negotiable regulatory and legal standards you have to meet. Thinking process first helps ensure a few really vital things.
Like making sure you stay compliant from the very beginning.
That's number one. By mapping the whole process and where AI might touch it early on, you can spot potential compliance risks or regulatory red flags before you even build anything. It's way easier to design compliance in than to try and retrofit it later.
Makes sense. And what about fitting it into how things already work? Governance and all that?
Yes, exactly. These organizations already have established governance frameworks. Process-first thinking helps you weave AI into those structures. So you get transparency, traceability, auditability. It's not some separate thing bolted onto the side as an afterthought.
Okay, compliance built in, integrated governance. What was the third key benefit they mentioned?
It really helps accelerate adoption and build trust.
How so?
When you involve everyone who actually touches or uses that process right from the start, they understand the why. They see how the AI fits into their work, how it helps them. That builds confidence, makes them want to use it, which is essential. Value only comes when the tech is actually adopted and used, not just when it's developed.
That really highlights the people side of things, even with advanced tech. So, okay, an organization gets this process-first mindset. What are some practical things leaders in finance or healthcare can do to prepare for AI adoption that can actually, scale up?
Well, the experts really stressed building cross-departmental structures early. Transforming an end-to-end process. That almost never sits neatly within just one team's boundaries.
Right.
Think about, say, improving the patient journey in a hospital. That cuts across the front desk, scheduling, insurance processing, clinical teams, maybe even inventory management for supplies.
You need all those different groups talking to each other, breaking down the traditional silos.
Absolutely crucial. And hand in hand with that is empowering the teams who are closest to the actual work, closest to the customer or patient. While you need a central strategy, the corporate headquarters often misses the vital, granular details of how things really work on the ground.
So let the people doing the job have a say in how it gets transformed.
Exactly. Empower those local teams. Let them identify opportunities, maybe even drive the implementation for the parts of the process they know inside out. That bottom-up knowledge is key for building solutions that actually work in the real world and can scale beyond just a small pilot project.
Okay, this flows perfectly into something the experts were incredibly clear on. Responsible AI. They said it's non-negotiable. Why is this so fundamental, especially in finance and healthcare?
It's fundamental because AI is evolving. It's moving beyond simple rule-based systems towards more adaptive, even autonomous systems. These systems are influencing and sometimes making decisions that have a profound impact on people's lives.
Right.
And because finance and healthcare touch such sensitive areas, health, the experts were adamant. Responsible AI frameworks aren't just a nice to have, they have to be foundational, baked into every single deployment.
They mentioned some specific ethical dilemmas, like in healthcare prioritization.
They did. And AI might become incredibly adept at spotting urgent clinical needs from data patterns humans might miss. That's powerful. But AI fundamentally lacks human context, empathy, or understanding of social norms.
So the ethical choice.
The ethical choice, like deciding how to prioritize care based on age or prognosis or other complex human factors that's something AI currently cannot and arguably should not make alone. The AI provides the data insight. The human needs to handle the ethical judgment.
It can process the facts, but it doesn't have empathy or grasp the nuances.
Precisely. And that's just as critical in banking or insurance. Think about loan applications or insurance underwriting. If the historical data fed to the AI reflects past societal biases,
Which it often does.
right, then using that data without careful oversight could lead the AI to make automated decisions that just perpetuate unfairness. Maybe denying loans or charging higher premiums based on factors linked to socioeconomic background, purely because that's what the historical data showed. Leaders have to anticipate and mitigate this risk.
So this demands really proactive governance then, not just reacting when something goes wrong.
Absolutely. The experts strongly emphasize that leaders need clear, upfront policies. Policies around transparency, can we understand what the AI is doing? Explainability, can we understand why it made a certain recommendation or decision? And accountability, who is ultimately responsible if an AI system makes a mistake or causes harm? Building trust, not just inside the organization, but with the public who are affected by these systems, requires being really open and proactive about these safeguards.
And all of this is happening while the regulatory landscape itself is shifting because of AI, right?
Yeah, it really is. AI is acting like a catalyst, almost forcing industries and regulators to redefine their relationship. Regulators have this huge challenge. How do you create rules that ensure safety, fairness, and privacy without completely stifling the innovation that AI promises?
Tricky balance.
Very. And the experts strongly advise companies not to just sit back and wait for regulations to happen to them.
Be proactive.
Yes. Engage with regulators early. Talk to them about what you're building, how you're approaching responsibility. Frame it as a collaboration to navigate this new territory together.
Rather than just waiting for the rulebook to land on your desk.
Exactly. And we're already seeing AI change things dramatically. The experts pointed out how the customer experience in banking, for example, has shifted. It's less like, going to the DMV.
Right.
And more dynamic, personalized. Even roles like call center agents are being transformed. AI is augmenting their abilities, turning those interactions into what the experts called potential battlefields for the bottom line, crucial touch points for customer retention and value. AI is reshaping everything.
Okay, so let's pull back and summarize this deep dive. We've looked at the core challenges for regulated industries, those sticky legacy systems, the skills gap, that tension between innovating and staying compliant.
The FOMO versus fear factor.
Right. And we saw how modern AI, the kind that understands context, is a massive leap beyond older automation like RPA. Not just arms, but a brain.
A brain that can learn and adapt.
Exactly. And we've really hammered home that this process-first thinking is absolutely essential. It's not just about efficiency. It's key for compliance, for governance, and crucially, for building the trust you need for people to actually use the AI.
You need adoption to get value.
And finally, the non-negotiable nature of responsible AI. Those frameworks focusing on transparency, explainability, accountability, they're critical for navigating the ethical complexities and building trust, especially in these sensitive sectors.
Yeah, these are definitely not easy changes for industries built on decades of very established ways of working, but the path forward seems clear. Focus on understanding the whole process, empower the teams who live it daily, and embed responsible AI principles right from the start. That's how finance and healthcare can leverage AI not just for savings, but to genuinely improve services and maintain trust in really critical parts of our lives.
Which leaves us, and you, with a final thought to chew on. As these AI systems get more capable, more autonomous, and more deeply woven into critical decisions, think about who gets a loan or how healthcare resources are allocated. How do we make absolutely sure that our quest for efficiency and innovation doesn't accidentally push aside fundamental human values like fairness, equity, and empathy? And maybe more pointedly, what's your role in asking those tough questions and shaping that future?